Today we're going to review the Earth's layers as a kind of introduction to the difference between the compositional layers and the physical layers. So at the end of this lesson, you should understand that the Earth has many layers. Some are compositional, which means they're made of the same thing, and some are physical layers, which means that they have a physical characteristic that is the same. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about how scientists have two ways of dividing Earth's layers. The physical way that they divide it divides the layers by physical attributes. They might all be a solid, they might all be a liquid, it might be rocky, things like that, a physical feature, where composition is more of the ingredients, what makes it. When you're making a cake, the ingredients might be sugar and eggs and flour and butter. That's the ingredients. The physical means it's 2 layers, it's yellow, it's got chocolate frosting, things like that. So physical characteristics. Our 3 compositional layers are the crust, the mantle, and the core. Each one of these is divided based on the composition of the layer. That means the ingredients, what makes it. As we get started on this slide, make sure you have your compositional versus physical layers of the Earth's note sheet out, and you're at the bottom where it says compositional layers, so you can take notes on each layer. The crust is our outermost compositional layer, and it is composed of oxygen, silicon, and aluminum. You can abbreviate those when you write and maybe do OXY, SIL, and ALUM. So their main ingredients in our compositional layer called the crust are oxygen, silicon, and aluminum. The second compositional layer is our mantle. It is comprised of molten rock, both melted and hard, and it's got some silicate and magnesium in it. But its main ingredient is the solid or liquid molten rock that's always moving. Our final compositional layer is made mostly of iron and some nickel. So it's kind of our metal layer. It is made of iron and nickel. As we move on, we're now going to talk about the 5 physical layers. They are the lithosphere, the asthenosphere, the mesosphere, our outer core, and our inner core. There's kind of a silly sentence to help you remember it. Let Autry Mill offer chocolate ice cream. The L in let stands for lithosphere. The A in Autry stands for asthenosphere. The M in mill stands for mesosphere. Then we've got offer chocolate, which is outer core, and ice cream, which is inner core. So just a quick, easy way to remember them in order. Again, a reminder, you should be on the bottom section taking notes, and you're now on the physical layers. Remember, the physical characteristics, I kind of think about our senses, what it looks like, what it tastes like, what it feels like, what it smells like, things like that. The physical characteristics of the lithosphere are there are layers of rocks. It's divided into oceanic and continental crust. It's our coolest layer, and it's also where you're going to find our tectonic plates. But the biggest takeaway is that it is all rocky, and it's divided into the oceanic and the continental crust. Our second physical layer is called the asthenosphere. It's kind of soft, plastic-like. When we talk about it, we talk about its viscosity. It's very, very thick. So if we were to pour it out, it would pour out very, very slowly, like that thick Karo syrup that we used in our lab. It's very viscous. It has some rock material, but it's always moving. It's moving fluidly. And it's actually, we're going to learn moving in a circular pattern because of the convection currents. Our third physical layer is the mesosphere. It is extremely rigid. It is the lower part of the mantle. We find it under the asthenosphere, but above the core. And again, it is some of that molten rock, but it's hardened. It's very rigid. As we approach the center of the Earth, we're first going to reach the outer core. And the physical layer of the outer core is our only liquid layer. It does contain the iron and the nickel, like the inner core that we learned about in the compositional layers, but this is a liquid, and it's what contains our magnetic field. It's where we get the magnetism in our Earth that allows compasses to work. And as we go down, we finally get to the inner core. Some of its physical characteristics are that it's solid. It's a solid ball of iron and nickel because of the increased pressure. So our physical characteristic is that it's a solid metal ball.